Hey everyone. I'm sure all of y'all have done the same thing I've done in the past. Um, Most people have. You're at a job and you think to yourself, man, if I was the boss, I could change so many things. Or, why doesn't my boss just do this? Or, why doesn't my boss just do that? And things would be better. Just remember, 9 times out of 10, your boss has a boss also. And you'll have to answer, that boss has to answer to his boss. And in most cases, has to answer to a lot of different people. And, it might not be always in the best interest of everybody what your boss does or what your boss makes you do. There's a lot of times where your boss might do something that he doesn't want to do because his boss is making him do it or telling him to do it. Company policies that everybody has to go by. Your boss has to go by them. Just remember, the people up high, in most cases, don't do the work of the people down low. So they don't see what you see. They look at numbers, they look at prices, they look at, production, they look at all these different things, but they don't look at how the worker works. A lot of them have never even been in the worker's shoes. Uh, so just before you make an assumption to what you think your boss is doing wrong, just always remember that he's got a boss behind him. Or her. Sorry. Didn't want to say him and be sexist because there are female bosses. But, be aware that, higher up corporate offices, they make these rules and pass them down. And until those rules are changed, your boss can't change anything. Yeah, there might be some little small things he could change or she could change. They could do better, but don't always think that they're doing it just to do it. Sometimes bosses have to do what they're told to do also. You know, I wish I could change a lot of things. I wish I could do a lot of things differently than I do them. I grew up in my company from a puller, which is the bottom ring, to a team leader, to the backup supervisor. And now I am the supervisor. I am the top person on the night shift. And there's a lot of things that I would like to do, a lot of things that I think should be done differently, but I can't do them. I know some of my employees think that, they could do the job better because they would do this or they would do that. It's the same in every company. Before you think that your boss is doing something just to do it, realize that they have someone to answer to also, and they can only do so much. Another thing that I think a lot of people do, they're afraid to talk to the bosses. They're afraid to give ideas. Your boss is still human. He is going to make, or she is going to make mistakes. They are going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But if you don't step up and say anything, if you don't step up and pronounce your ideas, then nothing's going to change. If you have ideas to make your company better, if you have ideas that would, benefit your company or get y'all out faster or, anything, speak up. Don't be silent. Don't think, you know what, they're never going to go for this, so I'm not going to say anything about it. The only thing they can do is tell you no. But it might not be something they thought about. It might be something that they thought about, but then they decided no. They might have thought about that idea and tried it in the past before you got there and it didn't work. Maybe now is the time to retry that idea. But they don't think about things like that. A lot of the corporate offices don't think about things. the way that a regular worker does. Anyway, the whole point of this video is don't be so hard on your bosses. A lot of times they're doing what they do because that's what they have to do. I hope you have a good day. Please take this video however you'd like. I hope something positive comes out of it. I know maybe some of y'all will think negatively of it, but I hope something positive comes out of it. Remember, speak up. Tell your boss your ideas. And please don't just write it off automatically as, my boss is doing this just because he wants to or she wants to. Just always remember, you have a boss, but your boss has a boss also. Take care, y'all. We'll see you later.